So this is our collection.
Wow.
Everything we have here are different translations of the Tao Te Ching.
How many translations of the Tao Te Ching are there?
Based on the current count, 2,052 in 97 languages. So last year I published this book. Almost 300 pages is just a list of the translations. I wanted to give you a copy. You can read how I assigned it. I think it's
To my best teacher, Brian from Misha.
I should have added my best teacher after Laozi.
We're here at Nankai University in Tianjin, China, to meet Professor Misha Tad. I'm proud to say that Professor Tad is a former student of mine, and he started a center here at Nankai for global Laozigetics.
One of the things I've done in the last, we could say, 5 years is to find all the different kinds of translations in all the languages around the world. So the idea of global Laozigetics is to look at the entire phenomena of the text in the world throughout history. This is a Latin translation, no later than 1729. It's really the earliest encounter between Western philosophy and Taoism.
Was this a Jesuit translation?
Yes. The Tao Te Ching has been translated more than any other work except for the Bible. The Bible has had hundreds of years of organizations that have intentionally tried to translate and spread it to every person on the whole planet. But the Tao Te Ching had no such organization. People just reading the text and finding it interesting and valuable and wanting to translate it over and over again. The book right here, it says A New English Version by Ursula K. Le Guin. Many of her very famous science fiction or fantasy novels have Taoist elements. She read this text in English, right, not in Chinese, for a very long time. And so this version, I would say, represents her understanding or her reimagining, like in chapter 28, knowing man and staying woman. In the original, it's not necessarily about being both man and woman, but it could be about certain qualities of aggression and passivity or these kinds of more abstract things, but she makes it very much a gender concept. And her translation is popular, that then it gets retranslated. So we have a Spanish version, we have a Dutch version. It's not just going out of China in a single simple direction, but you have these networks and branches of different imaginings of the philosophy.
Now, what about you? How did you first get excited and interested in Laozi and the Tao Te Ching?
So we also have that translation. So this is the translation published in 1972 originally by Feng Jiafu and his American wife, Jane English. It's probably the most popular English translation out of all the 600 translations. It influenced the counterculture generation.
Set me free, come on little girl.
In the 60s and the 70s, you have this movement of people who want to move away from Western modernization, want to go back to the land, and they look to East Asian culture. And so one of those resources was the Tao Te Ching. And it just kind of entered popular knowledge. Even people like George Harrison in the Beatles, he selected a chapter from the Tao Te Ching in English to be the lyrics to a song called Inner Light. My parents both read that particular translation when they were young teenagers. That was the first Tao Te Ching I encountered when I was 14. I was fascinated from the beginning. I don't know why.
深受老学的概念是要互相学习的，它是一个开阔的视角。
Why have I spent my whole life studying this one book? All the words are very simple, but the meaning is not simple.
老子是我生命当中最为契合的一本古代著作。
In those few thousand words, all you have is abstract ideas on how to face very continually reoccurring human challenges.
The history of this vision and why...
And these abstract ideas very easily can cross cultural boundaries. And people all around the world can feel that it somehow is, the text is speaking to them. It doesn't matter if it's a myth or 100% historical fact. There's a culture that grows up around the text that's 100% real. have the lineages of the passing of the wisdom, and the wisdom is accumulated through generations. It's not just information, it's how to live, how to be a person, how to understand your place in the world. And that's the level I think wisdom operates on.
人类生活是需要确定性，我们怎么才能在充满了不确定性的世界里找到那个确定性的根源呢？只能来自于哲学这样的整体性的对世界人生的思考。
你对老子感兴趣吗？为什么呢？
因为这是他第一章，我们表演过。道可道，非常道；名可名，非常名。无名天地之始，有名万物之母。
故常无欲，以观其妙；常有欲，以观其教。
凡者，道之动；弱者，道之用。
Alle Dinge unter dem Himmel entstehen im Sein. Das Sein entsteht im Nichtsein.
Contraria prosus, humana prudentia. Sopliantur igeni, ad abundantes superfluent.
The Tao gave birth to the One. The One gave birth to the Two. The Two gave birth to the Three. And the Three gave birth to the myriad things.
Before I began this project, I had no idea how vast the influence of the Tao Te Ching was in so many different aspects around the world. There is obviously a deep hunger, not just in the past, but in the world today, for not merely intelligence, but for wisdom. The Tao Te Ching famously says that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. We too are only at the beginning of our journey. Join us in future episodes as we continue to explore the wisdom of China.